Hey everyone, Ida from PGP here, and welcome back to Rivalries Thursday. So, this week, we're going extremely old school, because we're covering a rivalry of the 1960s, and that is the rivalry between Graham Hill and Jim Clark. So, what happened? Well, let's first give you a bit of background on the two drivers. So, on one hand, we have Jim Clark from Scotland. He was one of the most naturally gifted drivers in F1, honestly. And he raced for Team Lotus and quickly made a name for himself with his exceptional driving talent and versatility. And he won 2 championships in 63 and 65. And then we have Graham Hill. And he was British. And honestly, a formidable competitor to Clark. He raced for BRM, British Racing Motors, and later for his own team, Hill Racing. Like Clark, he was highly skilled with a knack for extracting the maximum performance out of his car, and he won the championship in 62 and 68, showcasing his talent and determination. But what happened between those two? So, on-track battles. They frequently found themselves battling wheel to wheel on track. I mean, it's no surprise. They are both world champions. And of course, when you're competing at such a high level, you will clash. And their competitive spirits just drove them to push each other to the limit, resulting in memorable duels during races. And of course, that also meant championship contention because they, as I stated before, both drivers won championships in the 60s, which of course made their rivalry boil over oftentimes because they just wanted to outshine each other. Especially when it was very tight in the championship between the two. And then we also have the competing team factor. And while Clark primarily raced for Lotus and Hill for BRM, there were occasions when their teams were so equally matched that they were able to compete, like really compete against each other. Because as I often said in this segment, your teammate is your first competition, but these two teams and these two drivers during that time period were so evenly matched that it wasn't just inter-team rivalries, but it was like these two teams against each other, like neck and neck. So that was another aspect. But then, at the same time, at the end of the day, Clark and Hill both held a deep respect for each other and for their ability, from what I could find, and recognized each other's talent and sportsmanship, and acknowledging the challenge posed by their competitor and appreciating that challenge. Because I feel like acknowledging that your competitor is good instead of just being, dare I say, petty, is the hallmark of a truly healthy, dare I say, rivalry. So, of course, this rivalry, at least in the 60s, and I mean, even to this day, because both of these names are still talked about in this day. And if you're a newer fan, honestly, I would encourage you to look those two drivers up even more. And just understand what they raced, because Formula One we know now is very, very different from the early days of Formula One, like in the 50s and 60s, where they raced. So I hope you enjoyed that overview, and see you guys next week. Bye.